Welcome back to another episode of Living in Denver. As always, my name is Adam, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the top 5 Denver suburbs and areas around Denver that have been voted on according to New Home Source. So New Home Source is a really great website that connects future homeowners with some of the best builders in Colorado. They recently published this list of their top 10 best areas to live in 2024 and going into next year, 2025. I'm going to share all of those top 5 places with you, as well as share a little bit extra insights on my personal feedback on these choices that they provided in this article. But before we get started, as always, my name is Adam, licensed realtor here in Denver, Colorado. Love making these videos just like this one you're about to watch right now. But what I really enjoy is just connecting, finding a way that I could provide value to you today, regardless of if you're looking to buy a home in the next 6 months, or maybe you're not shopping at all right now and you're just trying to gain a little bit more knowledge and just education for when that time does come down the road. So regardless, I would love to connect with you. My phone number, my email, all that info is down below. I also have a brand new website that just came out last week. It's got some great resources to educate yourself on both home buying and home selling, as well as new construction homes, and even just some playbooks on how to improve your credit for when that time comes to possibly be applying for a loan, a home mortgage. So all that info is available for you on my website. That link down below, check it out. Would love to share more info with you there. But for today, let's go ahead and get started. Again, sharing with you, according to New Home Source, a big website that recently published their list of top 5 areas around Denver for 2024 going into 2025. All right, so as I said, going to be sharing with you 5 areas that New Home Source has identified as the best areas to keep your eye on around Denver, Colorado. So a little bit of background on how they came up with this list. They went through a lot of different factors, a lot of different characteristics of areas, and this included things like population, median home value, travel time to work, the quality of the schools in the area, and just the property and the crime rates for these different areas. So a lot of really good, valuable info to share with you today. Again, these are the top 5 that New Home Source put out in their recent article. But before I share with you the top 5, there actually was a list of 10 initially. So I want to share with you number 10, 9, 8, 7, and 6 as we now go into this video, which is 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So at number 10, they had Arvada. Number 9 was Broomfield. Number 8 was Lakewood. Number 7 was Golden. And number 6 was Columbine. Definitely a few areas within this top 10 that I definitely agree with, especially Golden. I think Golden is top 3 in my book, and definitely a great place for you to check out if you haven't learned too much about Golden yet. So I'd love for you to check out one of my Golden videos if that is something that you haven't yet explored. Click one of these links and definitely check out that video after you're done watching this one. All right, so now jumping into the top 5 that I'm going to go through today with you. At number 5, we've got Ken Carroll. So if you may have seen in some of my other past videos, I feature Ken Carroll a lot. Ken Carroll can also be pronounced Ken Carl, depending on who you're talking to and if there's somebody that's lived in the area for a long time. But this has always been an area in southwest Denver around just the mountains, and just so many great attributes about this part of Denver that I love. So I definitely agree with this being in their top 5 list. One of the reasons, outside of just the location, is all of the open space that Ken Carroll provides, especially in the area called North Ranch. In fact, there's over 4,800 open space acres for residents in this area to enjoy. You know, walking paths, places to take out your mountain bike, to walk your dog. Literally, the opportunities are endless when it comes to just outdoor recreational activities in Ken Carroll. And one of the things that I love most about it, on top of that, is just the wildlife that you get to see on a daily basis if you're living in this part of the state and this kind of southwestern part of Denver. You know, I recently sold a very beautiful luxury home in the North Ranch, and we had bear, bobcat, deer on a daily basis, all kinds of wildlife that just you really don't get to experience in other parts of Denver like you do in Ken Carroll. So definitely recommend checking out Ken Carroll, and I definitely agree with why this is in the top 5. Ken Carroll is part of Jefferson County School District, so there's a lot of really good school opportunities. if you do have younger kiddos that are going to be living in Ken Carroll with you. In fact, I was also part of the Jefferson County School District. I went to Wheat Ridge High School, and I just think Jefferson County is a great option for a lot of people. Definitely some good options for schools, as well as just the athletic programs, and I think they have a lot of really good options. So definitely another reason why I think Ken Carroll is and should be on this list. Ken Carroll is also known for having a low crime rate. The population density isn't nearly what you'll find in other parts of Denver. And on top of all that, I think the location when it comes to transportation is really good if you're somebody that likes being on the western side of Denver and likes to frequently visit the mountains or just get up to parts of the area that are less traveled to on a daily basis. Meaning, if you want to get up into near Red Rocks Amphitheater, for example, and get a little workout in after you get off for the day from work, this is a lot more achievable and just realistic if you are living on the southwestern side of town like Ken Carroll. So as you can see, there's a lot of reasons why I think Ken Carroll is a great option, definitely on the list. Before we move on, I also want to remind you, on my brand new website, I've got this interactive map. You can actually go there and click on Ken Carroll and learn all about this part of Denver, along with check out some additional videos and demographics, market reports, a lot of great resources for you for both Ken Carroll as well as all of these other 4 places that I'm about to share with you on this list of top 5. All right, so number 4 on this list is gonna be Littleton. So I was a little surprised that Littleton was on their list, because when I look at Littleton, I think of several different areas, including parts of Ken Carroll. So when I say Littleton here as number 4, I'm gonna dial this a little bit more deeper into specifically the historic downtown Littleton. So I love downtown Littleton. It is one of my favorite areas right now to just enjoy a night out, going out to dinner, maybe grabbing a drink before or after. It's a great option for a lot of reasons, but why I love this part of Littleton, this historic old downtown area, is it just has this community feel that you really don't experience that often anymore in the big cities like Denver. It's got this kind of a main street with a lot of restaurants that are locally owned and operated. You're gonna see a lot of familiar faces when you go to this part of town, and it has a great blend when it comes to real estate of lots of different styles of homes. So they've recently built a lot of townhomes and different types of mixed use, so multi-use properties where there's retail on the ground level and then maybe some condos up above. Stuff like that I just think is great for this newer, more urban blend of living that you're starting to find in places like Littleton. So I just love the walkability of this part of Littleton, and it's just great. I don't know. I love the views. I love all of the options for restaurants and dining, and there's just a lot going on. So kind of a long-winded explanation for why I think this downtown part of Littleton is definitely deserving to be on this list of top 5. I also love just how accessible this part of town is. So Littleton is just basically 25 minutes south of downtown Denver, and with this old downtown historic Littleton portion that we're talking about in this video, it's just directly off of Highway 85, also known as Santa Fe. So it is very easy to get on and off of. There's also a great public transportation with the RTD light rail system. So really anybody, regardless of whether you're driving a car, riding a bus, getting on a light rail, even riding your bike or in some of these paved sidewalks and trails that they provide for commuters that are on bike. There's all kinds of options for transportation when it comes to this historic downtown Littleton area. There's also some very good schools in the Littleton Public Schools area. You're on the verge of being also in the Cherry Creek School District, but predominantly you're gonna be in either the Littleton Public Schools and also some of this Jefferson County Public Schools, like I mentioned earlier with Ken Carroll. So you have some good schools in the area, which is always important for a lot of my clients and people considering moving here to Denver. So if you do have kiddos, definitely check out www.niche.com. They've got some great resources there if you want to go a little bit more deeper into looking through school districts and what might serve you best when you're considering moving here. All right, so number 3 on the list is going to be Highlands Ranch. Highlands Ranch is also, coincidentally, in the southern part of Denver, close to Littleton and Ken Carroll. And in fact, there's even parts of Highlands Ranch that are also considered Littleton. So as I mentioned earlier, Littleton is really now encompassing number 5, 4, and 3 on this list. So with good reason, I love this part of southern Denver, and there's obviously a lot of other people that do too. So talking more specifically though about Highlands Ranch, Highlands Ranch is known to a lot of the locals and just people that have been in Denver for a long time as just enormous master planned community. So Highlands Ranch has been around for 25 years, but for any of the locals or people that have been in Denver for a while, they've always known Highlands Ranch as just being this enormous master planned community. So a master planned community, as the name suggests, is just a community of homes that has been planned out before ever breaking ground and starting to be built. So I love master plan communities. In fact, I live in a similar one to Highlands Ranch known as Grant Ranch. It's also in Littleton. But what I love about living in a master plan community is you have a lot of little things that you don't even think about until you live here. And one of those being just all of these sidewalks and trail systems that are very easy to get to, but also very functional and practical. One of the reasons I love living in a master plan community is just this network of trails and walking paths and just the ability to really get anywhere you need to go, but going and getting there on these trails where there's very few people. Often they're away from any sort of streets and cars. So if you're walking your dog after work, or maybe you're on a bike ride or going for a jog, you really just feel like you're a little bit more removed from the hustle and bustle of the city and traffic and all that good stuff. You're not having to go to stoplights and wait for the walking symbol to cross, 10 different streets on your run or on your walk with your dog. You're able to just get out there and enjoy, in my case, sometimes an hour-long walk without ever once having to wait for a stoplight or for other people. So I just love in master plan communities how they've done a great job with building out this network of trails and just recreational opportunities. Without a doubt, Highlands Ranch is known for this and does a fantastic job with just all kinds of amenities for people that live in these areas. In fact, Highlands Ranch is so big, actually have like 4 different rec centers and just areas for all these different regions within Highlands Ranch where people live. So, they've just done a really, really good job with planning this all ahead of time and making it a very pleasant place to live. Definitely a reason why it's on this list of top 5s and coming in here at number 3. There's a lot of really good shopping in the area as well. And if you are a family that has some kiddos and you're considering what school districts and just what schools to make sure that your kids are able to attend, Highlands Ranch is also known for some really, really high quality public, but also private schools. So if you have a son or daughter that's really interested in pursuing athletics and trying to maybe get to that collegiate level or maybe even higher, one of the schools in this area in Highlands Ranch is known as Valor Christian. They're known for having some very successful and famous athletes come up through this school system, including one of my favorite running backs of all time. He actually plays for the San Francisco 49ers, known as Christian McCaffrey, the son of Ed McCaffrey, who's a former Denver Bronco. So lots of great athletic programs, lots of great educational opportunities if you are in the Highlands Ranch area. All right, so now getting close down to the number 1 spot. At number 2, it's gonna be Greenwood Village. So Greenwood Village is one of the wealthiest suburbs in all of Denver, and it features a blend of upscale homes, lots of really nice shopping, and again, really good access to different parts of Denver if you are commuting for work. And this includes getting to the Denver Tech Center, which, if you're not familiar with, is kind of the second place after downtown Denver for larger companies that are having still brick and mortar offices. One thing, if you again are a family looking at school districts with Greenwood Village, it is one of the few areas that is part of the Cherry Creek School District. So Cherry Creek School District is always at the top of the list in the entire state of Colorado, kind of right there with Boulder as well as Cherry Creek, and then also some Littleton school districts. So, definitely one of the best in the state when it comes to public schools. Cherry Creek is always also known for having great athletic programs. As a Jefferson County alumni going to Wheat Ridge High School, we had some very, very competitive back and forth games when certain sports were being played, especially tennis and also football. And Cherry Creek got the best of us the majority of the time. So Cherry Creek is just a school district that is very well known and also very highly acclaimed. So if you do have kids, definitely do a little bit more research on Cherry Creek. Again, niche.com is a great resource for you, as well as going onto my website and searching Greenwood Village and just searching through some of those market statistics and just different resources for this part of Denver. I actually have a brand new listing right now. It's a really cool apartment in Greenwood Village, and I've been over in this part of Denver a little bit more often recently. And one of the things that I love most about this part of Denver is its accessibility. So you are right off of I-25, very close to downtown Denver, as well as going a little bit further south into some cool areas. I mentioned the Denver Tech Center, but also going even a little bit further south, as far down even as Castle Rock. Castle Pines, some very, very cool parts of Denver to check out. I also, though, love with Greenwood Village how you have this awesome, really diverse blend of types of housing. So this apartment that I'm currently selling is, a nice apartment in a community that's kind of in the $280,000 to $400,000 price range for apartments. But then also you're within a couple miles of some very high-end homes that a lot of famous Denver people currently live in, as well as some of the top, most affluent people in the state. This is Cherry Hills, also just some of these different suburbs around this Greenwood Village area. So you're gonna see that blend of kind of a little bit of everything, condominiums, apartments, townhomes, and single-family homes ranging from, $700,000 to $1 million, all the way up to $10 to $15 million. Our past quarterback for the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson, he actually recently sold his house in this Cherry Hills, Greenwood Village area, just as an example of these types of homes that you're gonna find surrounding Greenwood Village. Greenwood Village also has some great recreational options, especially some parks that are some of the best in the entire state. One of these being Cherry Creek State Park. Cherry Creek State Park is great for a lot of reasons. A lot of people go here to go boating. In fact, you can go wakeboarding, wake surfing. It's a lake that you can water ski on, but also it's got one of the best dog parks in the entire state. One of my friends actually recently was talking to me about this, about how she has this annual membership, and with all these extensive trails, you can actually have your dogs off leash and just really enjoy a little bit more unique style of park when it comes to people that have pets, dogs that want to get out and enjoy being out in some open space and not have to worry about being on their leash the entire time. And then one last thing I'll say about Greenwood Village is it also has some great shopping if you are somebody that still likes going to the more traditional shopping centers and malls. I grew up in Denver and are always, for the last 30 plus years, the mall that always ranks at the top of the list is always going to be Park Meadows Mall, which is right here in this Greenwood Village area. You do though also have some other great options like Cherry Creek Mall and just the whole entire North Cherry Creek shopping district. So you have a lot of really cool stuff that's within a 10-minute drive, depending on what you're trying to get done and what you're trying to accomplish. So between shopping, really nice selection of fine dining and just different restaurant options, just really everything that you can think of, this Greenwood Village area has all of that easily accessible, again, within just a short drive. And if you don't drive and you're really relying on public transportation, since Greenwood Village is just smack dab in the middle of that highway I-25, you've got a really convenient and easy to use light rail system as well as public transportation with our buses. So light rail is without a doubt the way to go if you're really trying to learn more about public transportation options here, and it is very easily accessible if you live here in Greenwood Village. So definitely understand why this is number 2 on their list. All right, so drum roll please. We are finally there, the number 1 spot to be according to New Home Source, and this is going to be Centennial. So if you haven't noticed, almost every one of these top 5 have been in the southern side of Denver, and number 1, no exception there either. Rather than being southwest like Littleton and Ken Carroll that I talked about earlier on this list of top 5, Centennial is going to be a little bit more on the southeast side of Denver, and it's known also for its family-friendly atmosphere, really good amenities with shopping and restaurants and all that good stuff. And it's also in a really strong school district if you do have a family and that's important to you. Centennial is always on this list of top places to live in Colorado. And again, it's not only just the location within Denver, but it's the school districts, and it's just all of the options and available resources you have in this side of town. Since Centennial is also in that Cherry Creek Public School District as well as Littleton, you have a lot of options when it comes to your family and what school system your kiddos are going to be participating in. And because of the more affluent side of Denver, with a lot of the homes being a little bit higher price point than other parts of Denver, that's also really feeding into the quality of the amenities that the schools provide. What kind of buildings, what kind of facilities are available for student athletes, all of that kind of stuff. So definitely going to find a lot of really, really amazing resources if you do have a kiddo that's going through the school system. It also has a ton of great parks and all that outdoor rec opportunities like I've talked about with some of these other areas nearby, such as Greenwood Village and even just the Ken Carroll area. But what I love about Centennial is it actually has a few others that are really popular, including the Willow Springs open space. definitely check that out. It is really cool. Lots of great trails and just a little bit unique views of the western slope, and just a cool spot to check out if you haven't ever been to Willow Springs open space. And as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, Park Meadows Mall and just some of these shopping opportunities are very abundant in this side of Denver, and Park Meadows Mall just continues to really be one of the only malls, I would say, outside of Cherry Creek Mall and then also Flatirons Mall up near Boulder and Broomfield, that just seem to still maintain a level of health and stability. You know, some of the other malls around Denver have really taken a hit over the last few years as more and more people are shopping online. But I think with Park Meadows, which is in the Centennial area, they've done just such a great job with maintaining quality restaurants, and just the shopping, just different types of stores that are available in their malls are a little bit higher end, so they're able to continue to have a full mall that isn't full of a bunch of, you know, empty vacant spaces. It's a really nice, just quality mall to enjoy. So one of the few that are still remaining today. So definitely Park Meadows is a great place to check out if you come out to Denver and are looking at different parts of town to consider moving to. And then also, like I just said earlier about the transportation options with the light rail, as well as I-25 and also C-470, you've got a lot of very effective highways and just opportunities to get all around Denver with pretty much as little headache as possible. Anywhere you're going in Denver these days, you are going to face some traffic jams and some congestion on the roads, but I do think that Centennial is in a very convenient location where a lot of this can be easily accessed without having to spend 10 or 15 minutes on a, you know, feeder road or a kind of, you know, getting to and from the main arteries of Denver, which is I-25, I-70, C-470, some of these big major highways. A lot of these very easily accessible if you do live in Centennial. So as you can see, Centennial, without a doubt, should and is on the list of top 5. Ringing is in at number 1, but I thought they did a good job with all 5 of these being places that I personally recommend to a lot of my clients and have actually featured also as my favorites in my other recent videos on my YouTube channel. So definitely agree with this list of top 5, and I definitely just want to recommend you guys check out newhomesource.com. You can check out this list there and see for yourself a little bit more info on these 5, as well as the 5 that I shared at the beginning of the video, the 5 through number 6 through number 10. All right, so hope you guys got a little bit of value out of that today. I was a little bit surprised that all 5 of these were on the southern side of town, but that's nothing else. That was a little bit of a reassurance to me for the content that I'm putting out on a weekly basis, as far as why I also am choosing to feature more of the southern side of Denver as some of my favorite spots for people to consider living here in 2024 and into the new year, 2025. So with that, you guys, I hope you got some value out of this today. I'll close you out with my phone number, my email, all that info down below. One last time, I would just really enjoy connecting with you on a Zoom call, just connecting and learning a little bit more about you. No strings attached. Would love just to connect with you and find a few different ways that I can provide value to you. So I urge you to please reach out and schedule a call with me, and we can meet and talk a little bit more in depth then. But with that, I would just like to say, hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to sharing an all new episode of Living in Denver next week with you on my YouTube channel. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you then.